Just kind of start out. You said, can you tell me the name of the high school?
Gilman School for Boys in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. And you went to the school for girls then?
Yes.
Okay. School for boys. So, really basic question. So, what type of person was he?
He was so sweet and so smart. He was literally valedictorian, and I was in a similar social circle to him, in that we didn't really party that much. We were more academically motivated instead of sports motivated than most of the people that we went to school with, but he was just like a wholesome guy.
So, this is something, completely like, out of the blue. I mean, and did you have classes with him?
I I don't think I did because he was always in the highest level classes, but I went to a few like pre-dance parties or after party type things with him. And he played baseball with my younger brother.
So he was a team member then. So he had, it's like he wasn't much of a, well, he wasn't, you wouldn't describe him as a loner. Would you describe him as
Oh,
like a
yeah.
social person?
Yeah, a social guy, a sweet guy, um, very like well liked by his community. And in my mind, I saw him fitting into a lot of different scenes. Um,
Was his family, did he like, do you know anything about like what his family life was like? Any sort of, were they like out in the community doing volunteer work a lot?
um, I don't know much about his family, but with him being from the same town in Baltimore that I'm from, it's a town of many families that are more neighborhood oriented. The fact that he played in the same little league, um, for the neighborhood makes me feel like it's okay to assume that they were just as sweet and average any other family living in that neighborhood.
And you said your brother was on a soft, it's not softball, it would have been Little League, I guess.
Baseball. Yeah,
Baseball.
baseball.
Okay. So was he friends with your brother then? So like, do they like get along and things like
No,
that?
not totally friends, but I mean, like, yeah, he was a team player. He was good on the team. Uh, I was like happy that he had played baseball with my brother because I thought he was cool in high school. I was like, oh, cool, we have this common tie. Um,
You talked about how he was just incredibly intelligent. Did you ever imagine that there's a chance that he could be capable of something like that, even though he's still a person of interest right now? Did you ever imagine that this
Right,
could have been a
right.
possibility?
sorry, I don't know. Is my voice coming through clear? Yeah. Okay. I have been keeping up with this case because it's really groundbreaking, and I was just taking note of how smart and calculated each moment of it was, from the inscribed bullets to the Monopoly money to the manifesto. So, in thinking about the very smart, detail-orientedness of a person who commits something like this, thinking about him being valedictorian and then going on to a school like Penn, it does check out in that way.
Yeah, yeah. Like
I
this was
mean, I was impressed by all of the steps he took. He took a
totally,
lot.
totally.
Yeah. Um, sorry, go ahead. No, just saying yeah. Um,
I know that there were like some camera pictures, like a Crime Watch photo released before, he was even caught. Did you happen to see those at all before police had any indication of who this person might be and like think like, does that look like, Luigi from school?
no, it's funny though because I think he's definitely the type to have had like a post high school um maturation slash glow up. He was always like a handsome boy, so I totally see the similarities, but I didn't put anything together. I just seen the image of his mostly like hooded profile.
What was your initial reaction when you found out that he was a person of interest in this?
I was totally shocked. I was totally shocked. I haven't really kept up with what he's doing because we weren't close. And it's shocking to think of someone who grew up in the same community as I did, was a part of the same environments that I was, and had these titles given to him as valedictorian as a University of Pennsylvania Ivy League student going on to do this.
What his passions were in high school, like what he wanted to be after he graduated.
No, I don't. I didn't.
Take part in any, I think you talked a little bit about this, but did he take part in any clubs in high school, or just where was there any like sport or activity that you associated with him, or was it more just purely academic drive?
Mostly academic drive, but um yeah, mostly academic drive.
And how long did you know him for? Like, when did you, was it from elementary all the way through?
No, just the 4 years of high school, and maybe some of middle school now that I'm thinking about my brother's baseball timeline. Um, but like 4 clear years of high school. Okay, perfect.
Have you spoken with any of your friends that did know him in high school, since this has come out? Have they said anything?
Yeah, I mean, I texted, um, I texted my friend group that was close-ish with him, and we were all freaking out. My friend sent me a photo of one of our groups of friends hanging out at her house from our sophomore year. And I mean, some of us are still like, is it confirmed? Is that definitely him? It's 100% him. Just speculating and processing the shock.
Could you, the way that the terms that he had written on the bullets were typically that of like legal terms that they use in medical law.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
do you know if there was like any indication or reason like why he might have done this if he ends up being,
Right,
the
right.
accused?
I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely motivated by wanting to make a statement and wanting to fight against something that he doesn't believe in. And um I mean, it was working. It's worked. Like it's doing that. And I think it's funny when some of the people speculating are saying things like, it seems like he had anti-capitalist views, because that's, in my mind, what this was entirely about. So I think it was totally politically motivated.
Would you say that's part of like who he was in high school? Like I know, like, you think of like some high school kids, especially nowadays. I mean, I graduated in 2017, but
Right, right.
especially nowadays, I even feel like probably when we were in high school, probably at the same time, there were, this, I don't want to say generation because it is us, but
Yeah,
people were very into and have continued to be into, especially in our generation, fighting for, certain causes,
right,
and, trying to take a stand for the basis of their beliefs.
right.
Is there anything that he did in high school that maybe he, like, wanted to start a club or something in high school
Hmm.
that would have, echoed almost this personality choice that he made?
Yeah, no, that's a crazy question. And I don't know of anything. He wasn't always the most outspoken, center of attention. obnoxiously out there valedictorian type. Um, so I'm processing all of this and imagining him as the more quietly intellectual and mm, less aggressively political guy. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sure there's stuff out there from people that know him better, but there were people in his grade and in the schools around us who were doing more radical political things, but he wasn't one that I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what could you describe his personality at all, and maybe just a couple of words? Like what traits would you associate him with? Was it the quiet? Was he, what type of what type of personality did he have?
I mean, I think kind, warm, and wholesome. Kind, warm, wholesome, and smart. Um,
This is just something that, nobody would have
Oh
you
yeah.
you think that you would never have expected him to do.
never, never, never. But with the knowledge, yeah, I mean, with reflecting on how smart he is, that part lines up. Um, but again, thinking about just how warm and sweet and kind and pure he was. There were so many people in his high school too who were very like aggressive, macho, downright rude. Um, he was the opposite of that, and that's why he stood out to me back then.
Would you say that this is maybe like an underdog sort of thing he would like? It kind of sounds like an underdog story, trying to if he was doing what he thought was for a good cause,
Yeah.
you know.
Um, Not necessarily because he had the platforms like being the top of his class, going to an Ivy League to then maybe take more power or take more action in those worlds, in those designations, but he didn't.